to share a little bit of my heart behind the story. You heard me talk a little bit about the origins of it, how it began with my daughter, sort of how it relates to the Green Ember. But I want to read to you a little bit, just not so much from the book, but from the intro. I wrote a little intro because this story deals a little bit with like race. There's some white boys that meet up with a black boy from another church, and they go on an adventure up the creek together. And so some people, there's a little bit of sensitivity around that kind of a thing, and people are very concerned. Actually, that's part of the reason why I love the book, is because it presents this hopeful vision of love and friendship and reconciliation and forgiveness. And so I think it'll be refreshing instead of, I think sometimes we feel like, oh, I feel like this is oppressing, like to think about this, and I don't know what to do. It all feels so hopeless. I think sometimes in stories we can see a way clear that we couldn't see in our own life. And I think that's what helps us with our imagination, with our moral imagination. And that's what this story is often about. But I shared a little bit of my heart in an introduction, and I'm just going to read that for you right now. And also, this will give you a little bit of my background too. It'll give you a little bit of my history about where I've lived. Some of you may have heard that I grew up part of the time in a West Virginia holler, and then part of the time in South Africa. And you'll hear a little bit more about that in this story. And it talks about my dad, who I love and who's my hero. Dear reader, I'm so happy to share this story with you. My intention is to give you a gift, to love and serve you with delightful, moving, inspiring, and soul-shaping adventures. The Found Boys is not really a story about race, but a story about people, and it involves race. I think it's a hopeful, humorous tale that you'll enjoy. I grew up in a holler in West Virginia. Behind my childhood church, there were swings and a creek, and there was a stained glass picture of Jesus above the baptistry, and the pews were full of white people. One year, as my family was on our way to the mission field in South Africa, we visited lots of churches, telling them about our ministry. My dad had lots of black pastor friends, and so was often asked to preach at their churches. Their services were long and exuberant, and I loved them. It made me wish we'd clap in our church and shout out encouragement sometimes. I know my dad enjoyed hearing that encouragement. But I did get pretty hungry as the hours rolled by. If you listen to kids talk in my school or among sports teams I played on growing up in West Virginia, you would hear some pretty nutty stuff about race. Some of that's in the book. Sometimes their views were so wrong it was comical, and other times it very much wasn't. Sometimes laughter makes an evil thing shrink, and other times it makes it grow. Eventually, we made it to South Africa, where I turned 13, my first birthday, the day Nelson Mandela was released from prison. When we left, he was the president. In between, the first church I was ever a member of was 99% black folks, and I kind of got adopted into the Zulu tribe, unofficially. Well, I was officially a church member, but not officially a tribe member. But so much of who I am and what I loved was shaped in those days by those people, and they are in my heart forever. There's a defining story in my life that centers around my father. Yes, it centers him. He has been central to my life, and I'm so grateful for that. When we moved to South Africa, I was kind of shocked at the ordinary practice of every black man of any tribe or age calling any white man or boy boss. It was a common practice for an elderly black man to refer to even a teenage white kid as boss. I got called that. And for white kid to call the elderly black man boy. Instead, and to their surprise, my dad never referred to any black man, whether that was Zulu or Xhosa or Sotho or any tribe. My dad never referred to any black man as boy. Instead, and to their surprise, he always called them boss. Morning, boss, he would always say. This small act of unusual respect was out of step with the then current culture, but in step with the culture of the coming kingdom of God. In the kingdom of God, we will have a oneness that does not demand sameness, a unity beyond tribe or tongue or our melanin content. In that kingdom, there is always, contrary to modern pop dogma, always forgiveness for the penitent and the genuine possibility of change. So we keep praying for the kingdom to come and God's will to be done in West Virginia, in South Africa, and from the river to the ends of the earth. Until then, we aim to live in step with that kingdom, even while the competing propagandas of our age fight over who gets to divide and devour us. The Zulu word for hello is sawubona. It literally means, I see you. Wouldn't it be good if every time we came in contact with other human beings made in God's image, the first thing we announced and intended was to see them? That sounds like something from the kingdom of God. I hope you enjoy Found Boys. It was written with a heart of love. I see you.